And this is going to be a theme throughout the rest of this, man. The backup stories are really boring. In Future State, man, Batgirls was so boring. What's going on, Geminites? Gem Mint here with the new comic book day reviews for Wednesday, February 17th. And we only have the Image and DC books right now. With this blizzard and this cold front that's affecting the whole country, our Marvel books didn't make it. The Boom Studios books didn't make it. And actually only have Image because I have those digitally. So we're going to do like a part 1 this week, and then I'll do part 2 once we get the Marvel books. Before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of these new comic book day reviews or omnibus hauls or statue unboxings. And before we jump into the reviews, make sure to check out our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com. If you're looking for any omnibus, absolute, deluxe editions, or any collected editions, you want to go there because they sell them up to 50% off cover price. Great packaging, fast shipping, excellent customer service, and they also have a bargain bin where you can dig through and try to find titles up to 90% off. If you mention this channel in the memo at checkout for your first order, your second order is going to have free shipping if you're in the United States. So check out cheapgraphicnovels.com. All right, so starting off with Image Comics, the first book I read was Family Tree, issue 11. This is by Jeff Lemire, Phil Hester, Eric Gapster, and Ryan Cody. Not really sure what I can say about Family Tree if you're not reading the title, and if you're reading it, I'm definitely digging where we're going. It's action-packed. You have a lot of stakes at hand here with our family that's kind of being split apart, trying to make sure everybody's safe. We're in this world where people have reverted back into trees and seemingly are dead, but we find out that there's a lot more to it. I dig it. I'm a huge Jeff Lemire fan. Artwork's very gritty, very tree branch-like, the way that they're all jaggedy and everything. So overall, it's been a fun series. It feels like it's been a while since the last issue came out, but still digging Family Tree. Then we got to go with Ha Ha issue 2. This is by Prince and Thorogood, and like issue 1, this was a great issue, and each issue is a standalone story, but it seems to always be surrounding clowns. So this one was about a little girl who is about to perform. She's in like a freak show in a circus kind of thing. She's following this act of a woman with like 40 feet long fingernails or something, and it gives her backstory on how she ended up here, on how her mother was kind of dressing up like a clown and wanted to find this circus, and she left her husband, did whatever she had to do to get where they had to go, but when they get there, that's kind of where the issue ends. Very interesting, kind of like how this girl was almost traumatized by her mother, but she's kind of just like her mother, following in her footsteps. Very good, solid issue. Then the last one from Image is Stillwater issue 6 by Chip Zdarsky, Ramon K. Perez, and Mike Spicer. Love Stillwater. So this kind of picks up where the last issue left off, but it gives us this backstory on one of the enforcers, one of the guys that works for the judge. He goes out into the real world. He does what has to be done. And in this scenario, we see he kind of does what needs to be done to silence people that might threaten Stillwater. Loved his backstory. I love how it went from 1999 to 2017 to the present. And he's brought in some new people to the town that seemingly will help the judge's cause. All right, jumping over to the DC books, we have Batman Catwoman issue 3. This is by Tom King, Clay Mann, and Tameu Mori. I was really digging this issue. First of all, I like the artwork. It is a little sappy with the bat, with the cat, that whole thing that Tom King likes to do. But I tell you what, it's really interesting going with like that, what happens in the future and then during present time with the Joker, an older Catwoman. I don't really want to give any spoilers here, but I really like where they went with this. I'm not really sure where the Mask of the Phantasm characters coming in. Are they kind of trying to say that maybe they're the murderer, maybe Catwoman's the murderer? And it looks like there's the daughter of Batman and Catwoman is kind of like a bat hero as well, and she's kind of investigating the whole thing. So really interesting. I really enjoyed this issue. Sticking with the Catwoman theme, we'll do Future State. This is issue 2. This is by Ram V. and Schmidt. So the Catwoman stuff, it's just okay. I mean, this is basically the story of how Bruce Wayne escapes his fate and becomes the underground Batman that we have in Future State. So that's pretty much all that's going on here. I didn't love the story. It wasn't like a standout, well-written story or anything. It just seemed like a vessel to get Bruce Wayne into the world, if that makes sense. Then we got Shazam issue 2. So this one is by Sheridan, Pansica, Ferreira, and Mayalo. So I really liked how the Future State issues last week tied in everything here. It was, I think, the Teen Titans book. It tied in with pieces from Shazam and pieces from other titles. So I really like that. It's really like the interrogation of Shazam. They don't really know why Billy Batson hasn't shown up, why he hasn't given the power back. But we know he's down there guarding the entrance to whatever, the Rock or whatever, to prevent the evil from escaping hell. So really cool artwork here. Coloring was great, and I thought the story was interesting. All right, so we're going to jump into the next Batman, the final issue, issue 4, which has 3 stories in here. You have Ridley, Ayala, Seven Bergen, Braga, Anecki, Lupacino, Van Grau Badger, Prianto, Molehill, and Calise. I probably pronounced a lot of those wrong. Great covers here, man. So 3 stories. So we'll talk about the Batman story. Really enjoyed it. I like this whole kind of rush to get these murderers to the police station before they get killed by the magistrate kind of thing. So that was a pretty interesting story. Then the backup stories, and this is going to be a theme throughout the rest of this, man. The backup stories are really boring. In Future State, man, Batgirls was so boring. I mean, this is the whole prison break kind of world where all the different Batgirls are trying to break out, and I don't know. I just found it uninteresting. And Gotham City Sirens, this is the story with Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy with this cyborg robot creature. I don't know. Again, just boring and uninteresting. Didn't care, didn't matter, unfortunately. Then we got Nightwing. This is just a single issue here. Issue 2. This is by Constance Scott and Placencia. So this one was okay as well. Remember, this was the whole thing where Nightwing is tired of running, tired of hiding. He's just letting the magistrate follow him to the Batcave. So it's a team up between Tim Fox, Batman, and Nightwing fighting against the Peacemakers. I can't really remember any more specifics than that. It didn't really stand out. I didn't remember not liking it. I guess it was just okay, kind of forgettable. And then we have Immortal Wonder Woman issue number 2. This has 2 stories. So you got Cloonan, Conrad, McKinney, Bartel, Martinez, Morales, and Lopez. Prince Diana, or Diana Prince, is the first story. Then you have Nubia for the second story. Really liked the first story. I thought it was really strong. Wonder Woman in the way distant future. She's the only living creature left. You have this blackness that's kind of like the Langoliers from Stephen King, if you ever remember seeing that like made-for-TV movie. But the universe is like erasing itself, and she has an interaction with the last living being in the universe. It's not really a spoiler, but I don't know. Read it for yourself. And I thought it was really interesting, and kind of how it's almost like, man, the ending was actually really good. The ending was almost like a reset of the universe. I mean, that's the way that I interpreted it. Now, Nubia, I feel like issue 2 suffered from the same problems as issue 1. It was just so boring, man. The interaction with Nubia and her aunt, I just feel like it's so hard to read. I like the character. I like the character design, but I would like to see her in a different story. I couldn't even tell you what happened in this story. It's just very hard to get through. And the last one, the big boy, Superman Worlds of War. This has 4 stories in it. So you got Johnson, Cloonan, Conrad, Adams, Easton, Janine, Oming, Ohm, Delandro, Belair, Luis, and Hi-Fi. But let me tell you something. The main Superman story was incredible. It was probably the best story that I've read out of all these issues. Haha was a big one as well. And I like Stillwater, but for a superhero book, the Superman story was really cool. Remember in the last issue I mentioned there's this kind of like meeting of people that were saved by Superman, but then we have this girl who was actually saved by Clark Kent and something that he wrote. She kind of has a theory that Clark Kent would have saved people whether he was Superman or not. Like in his writing, he saved her, and while she's telling this story to another person, we're getting flashes of Superman fighting in the worlds of war, kind of like in this gladiator arena, and he's doing heroic stuff even though he doesn't really have his power, and he's basically showing us why he's a hero while she's telling somebody else why he's a hero. So I thought it was really good, man. The backup issues. All right, let's get into it. So Midnighter. I really like the Midnighter stuff. Midnighter is like this Frank Miller Batman type of character. Like he's brutal. He's a burly guy that'll kick some ass. And there's this kind of like time loop storyline that he's involved in. So I thought that was really cool. Black Racer. I thought it was a super generic story. I don't know who this character is, what was going on. It felt a little like Exo Manowar. Not interested. And then Mr. Miracle, super boring. Mr. Miracle is one of the boringest Future State books that they've released so far, and I don't know or care what's going on here. I did think there was one funny part where he basically was throwing action figures of himself, and it was something about how his PR said he should sell action figures, and then they didn't sell well, and he got stuck with all these prototypes, so he basically converted them into flash grenades, something like that. That was pretty funny. But otherwise, it was super boring. So that's all I have for you guys for today until the Marvel books come in. There are some Marvel titles that I'm really excited for. So Thor. So make sure you guys, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you're alerted when I drop that video. And I guess let me know what you think about the books, if you got a chance to read any of these, or let me know if you got to pick up your books at all. Appreciate you guys watching. Make sure to check out my other new comic book day reviews in the playlist to the right, and stay minty fresh. Peace.